We got our first look at Dillon Gabriel in the NFL, and let's just call a spade a spade. The Browns are lying to us about this quarterback battle. Shedeur Sanders is miles better than Dillon Gabriel and all of the other quarterbacks in that quarterback room. They are using Dillon Gabriel to justify their bad decision-making in the NFL draft. Dillon Gabriel doesn't have what it takes to be a starting caliber quarterback in the NFL. He has a weak arm. He's not a good athlete. And his unofficial NFL debut the other day, I was not impressed. I didn't see Dillon Gabriel throw a single pass more than 10, 15 yards downfield. He was doing nothing but dinking and dunking his way down the field. That's not impressive. Shador Sanders was doing more than just dinking and dumping. Shedeur is actually taking shots downfield. He was actually throwing passes in the tight windows. What the Browns are trying to do is convince themselves and the rest of the organization that Dillon Gabriel was the right pick over Shedeur Sanders. They rather use politics to decide who leads their team this year rather than doing what all good organizations do and start the best player. And what the Browns currently are doing with Shedeur Sanders and Dillon Gabriel is easily going to divide the locker room because players don't respect politics. Players hate when a guy is on the bench that should be starting is not, because the guy ahead of him is only in because where he was drafted, how much money he's getting paid. Players see through all of this. Players see the truth about Shedeur Sanders versus Dillon Gabriel. Every starter on the Browns roster is interacting more with Shedeur than what they do any other quarterback on the team right now. Myles Garrett, David Njoku, several starting offensive linemen for the Browns always are around Shedeur Sanders, are always making jokes with Shedeur. You can tell that Shedeur Sanders has been picked by the Browns locker room as this team's QB1. But the coaches are blind and they're picking Joe Flacco, Kenny Pickett, and Dillon Gabriel all over Shedeur Sanders for the sake of trying to prove that their decisions were right. Their decisions were justified. Shedeur's still in the doghouse, not because he isn't capable enough to be the Browns starting quarterback, but because the Browns rather ruined the blessing that they got handed to them and the franchise quarterback, something that they haven't had in over 2 decades, and they rather say, yeah, let's try to pump up our ego. Let's try to prove to everybody that Dillon Gabriel has the ability to be something that he's not, and that's a franchise quarterback in the NFL. Dillon Gabriel, I was high on him when he was coming out of the draft. When it came to him being a 5th-round selection, high-quality backup, maybe he turns into a low-end starting quarterback, but I never envisioned Dillon Gabriel getting drafted over Shedeur Sanders, nor becoming a feasible long-term solution at quarterback for any team. I thought his best fits would have been with the 49ers or with the Dolphins as Tua's backup, because that's how he plays. He plays like a Diet Coke version of Tua Tagovailoa. The Browns play a third of their season in cold weather. When you are playing in a lot of cold weather games, you need a quarterback that has above average arm strength. You need a quarterback that has the ability to fit throws in the tight windows against tight man-to-man coverage. Dillon Gabriel doesn't have the ability to do that. The further he tries to throw the ball, the less control he has over the ball. The Browns are playing politics, and Shedeur Sanders can't win against them. Politics are always going to be undefeated when it comes to professional sports, because that's what bad organizations do. They rather pick the guy that they drafted higher rather than start the guy who they stole because he fell further in the draft than what he actually should have had. And Shedeur Sanders is being the black sheep of the Browns organization. The owner didn't want him. Apparently, Kevin Stefanski and their general manager, Andrew Berry, didn't want him. So I guess the Browns only drafted Shedeur Sanders for engagement, because that seems to be the only way they tend to use him. Just to post him on their social media page for a bunch of likes and comments, to get a lot of start Shedeur comments, just to ignore him and go ahead and put a guy in Dillon Gabriel above him on the depth chart, even though Dillon Gabriel is not better than Shedeur Sanders. Kenny Pickett isn't better than Shedeur Sanders neither. They are hoping that Kenny Pickett could end up having a Sam Darnold redemption arc. Kenny Pickett is nothing close to Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold is a better athlete, a better thrower of the ball. He has better physical traits than what Kenny Pickett has. Kenny Pickett is a bona fide backup quarterback. That's just what he is. If your team has to start Kenny Pickett for more than 2-3 games, your season is over. Shedeur, at the bare least, should be the Browns' backup quarterback and in pole position to replace Joe Flacco when the Browns season ends up hitting the fan. It's inexcusable how Dillon Gabriel can throw 2 interceptions and Kevin Stefanski make excuses for him. Well, not all those were on Dillon Gabriel. Not all interceptions are the same. But let Shedeur Sanders go out there and throw 2 interceptions, though. The talk would have been, oh, he's trash. Oh, he doesn't hold on to the football. Oh, yes, bad decision-making. The Browns make all the excuses in the world for Dillon Gabriel, but they make all of the excuses against Shedeur Sanders, getting more reps in practice, getting placed higher on the depth chart, despite outperforming both Kenny Pickett and Dillon Gabriel throughout OTAs, minicamp, and 3 weeks into training camp. You look at that Browns quarterback tracker, Shedeur Sanders has been the most efficient quarterback throughout this offseason for the Cleveland Browns. And instead of relying on the numbers, relying on the film, the Browns are relying on politics to decide the outcome of their quarterback battle. Dillon Gabriel, what I saw from him against the Philadelphia Eagles, did not tell me this is a long-term starter in the NFL. You can't dink and dunk your way downfield. You got to be able to take shots downfield. You got to be able to make big boy throws 40, 50 yards downfield. You got to be able to put the ball on the rope, and Dillon Gabriel can't do that. I'm not a Dillon Gabriel hater. I'm a truther. And the truth of the matter is that Shedeur Sanders should be a lot higher on the Browns depth chart. He should be getting way more opportunities than what Dillon Gabriel and those ahead of him have been afforded.